This is October's edition of IWN's webinar series. I'm Corey Grafton from One on Water and Knowledge and Sharing Program owner with Michael and Jason. Just some housekeeping this morning. It is being recorded and it will be uploaded to IWN's hub. So get on, check it out, and we'll share it around if others want to see it. If you have your microphones on mute, cameras off for bandwidth, and pop any questions you have in the chat function. We will have time for questions at the end of this. So today I'm just going to go through a bit of a bio for Cameron here. Cameron Geddes, he's talking about leadership. Cameron has 20 years experience across a variety of fields in government and private sector. Cameron's a skilled facilitator, as well as a passionate mentor and a coach who enjoys developing individuals, teams, with the aim of maximising the collective performance. He designs customised programs to develop your people with their individual needs, as well as the desired outcomes for the greater team and organisation. Cameron, with IWN, designed and commenced the leadership program in October 2015, and he's an all-round nice guy. Before I hand over to Cameron, I've got Dean, the IWN program director here, who would like to just run over the IWN programs. Dean.
Great, thanks very much, Corey, and thanks everyone for joining us this morning. I guess as way of background, I just wanted to provide a quick update to the audience that IWN's been around for 10 years now. Predominantly, we manage innovation and technology programs, and it's probably the leadership programs probably not that familiar to everyone. So next slide, please, Cameron. Thank you. You can see there 1 to 8 is probably what we're well known for, and we're conducting technology trials on behalf of the Victorian Water Corporations. You can see the plan of Victoria, that's this financial year where our technology trials are landing. Next slide, please, Cameron. But today's webinar is really focused about the leadership program, and that relates to our champion program and our reps within each water corporation. So that little map of Victoria, you can see we have a champion from each water corporation. They're broken up into regions, and we've got 4 regions, and it allows the champions to collaborate amongst themselves and set joint goals. Next slide, please, Cameron. So back in 2015, the IWN program had a bit of reflection. We reviewed our delivery model and decided to deliver a step change, and that step change involved the implementation of this leadership program. We decided to go against just something standard, and we didn't decide to go with a off-the-shelf product. What we wanted to do was talk to our members and understand their needs and deliver a program that was unique to the industry, but delivered on our industry needs. Next slide, please, Cameron. So the program itself is a 2-year program. It involves 1 rep from each member water corporation. It's been excellent to see the development with the participants, and we've had some of our participants move on into leadership, managerial and executive roles. But I'd also say that for those that have also applied those leadership skills within their current role, which is just fantastic. We conduct an internal survey, well, we did earlier this year, and also external, but the internal survey was really for us to reflect at IWN what's working well and what needs to be improved. And you can see some of the stats there, that 86% of our current and previous participants in this leadership program were very happy with it and rated it from good to excellent and felt that they were supported in this IWN role. So that's enough from me. So I'll hand it over to Cameron, who can talk in more detail about what this program entails. Over to you, Cameron.
Thanks, Dean, and welcome everyone. So I'll bring it onto that slide. So the program, and I know it's called a leadership program. I prefer to refer to it as a leadership and mentoring program. And I want to take you through in detail sort of all the elements that make it up, and this is the framework in front of you at the moment. But I thought I should just expand a little bit, first of all, on the origins back in 2015. And so the program director at the time contacted me and said, I'm wondering if there's any way we can put together a leadership program, a leadership-based program for up to 19 individuals across the water corps in Victoria, so spread geographically across the state. And by the way, the participants will range anywhere across various roles in the organisations. and we want to deliver a program that's relevant to all of them. And so I said, yeah, of course we can. So what we did was we got together and came up with a framework that could deliver that. And right from the start, it was obvious that the people coming into the program were going to be at significantly different levels. So I've had everything from new grad or graduate engineers through to senior managers in organising water corps as part of as representatives, as champions. So it's been very diverse, and building a framework and a program that could cater for that range of experience and I guess career development was going to be a challenge, but hopefully this framework seems to have delivered that so far. So I'll take you through it in more detail, but one of the things I also wanted to show you, which was a bit of a basis around when we were developing the framework, was looking at the way retention of the knowledge that we're delivering and then transferring of that into, I guess, usable knowledge back into the IWN teams, but more importantly also back into the individual water corporation and their teams there. So the participatory teaching methods have been the basis on which we've built this. So building a lot around group discussion, practice, and then in particular teaching others. So train the trainer, empowering the champions to learn what the lessons, the skills, the strategies, the ideas that we're bringing to them, but also to take them back and apply them and teach them to others, but in a way that's well supported. So hence the elements of the framework. So, and I guess one last thing, Dean and I were just talking before we came on. So far, I guess we've had a fairly broad experience. We've got 57 people over the 5 years who have gone through the champion role. So we've had a large number of people, and to have that feedback has been really pleasing. So what I wanted to show you, first of all, I'll take you through all the 4 elements. So we broke it into 4 parts. To deliver a program remotely and effectively required some form of online platform to be able to give people the opportunity to work at a time that suits them, or to develop at a time that suits them. I have been a member of Mindshop for about 12 or 13 years now, and it was kind of perfect timing. They had developed an online learning and development platform that suits the purpose that we're aiming for. So the Mindshop online platform, which I'll show you in a moment, was the structure that we were able to use to provide that real-time learning and development. We then built a program around workshops, and I'll take you through those. Incorporated the concept of peer collaboration, which is really important in this program. And again, I'll go further into that a bit further. But then one-on-one coaching support to back each of these individuals up, but back them up in a way that's relevant to them. So for Mindshop Online, here's my magic trick, Sonia. There we go. So I wanted to just quickly show you the platform. There's no way to take you on a full tour of it today. We just don't have time, but I wanted to show you, I've set up a demo one to just give you a quick idea about a couple of the things that are available. So probably the 2 most important are the toolbox. And the toolbox is a series of tools with from the business world, from the planning strategy world. So it essentially, every champion has full license into here. Each of these tools comes with a description of how to use it, a video of someone describing from the Mindshop network on how to use it, and then a guide on practical application of the tool. So if we're in a training session and we go up with, say, the change success model, each champion is able to go back in, review it, consolidate their knowledge in the use of the tool, understand the steps of using the tool, and then apply that back in their own organisation or within their IWN regional team, or even the larger team, or even in the projects. So that's a really great resource of being able to consolidate and strengthen the learning process. And then the other one that I wanted to just quickly show you was online training. So again, some of this is more relevant to the business world, but a lot of it is around is personal and professional development. So problem-solving skills, one of the most important ones that I get almost everyone to go through is self-confidence. And you don't have to be lacking in confidence to do it, but it teaches you the concepts of what impacts on your confidence and in your ability to increase and focus on your strengths and overcome any weaknesses or barriers. And that's a course that's delivered by an organizational psychologist, and a very powerful course. And again, each one of the champions has full license to any of these courses and can work their way through. And it's self-paced learning that they're able to drive with me in the background supporting them from a coaching perspective. So that was a very quick tour. Actually, sorry, there was one last thing. They have a dashboard which allows the individual champion and myself to run through, sorry, wrong one, plans and actions. Under the now, where, how process, which we follow, it has the ability to develop where they are now, develop what their ultimate plan is, and then set up a series of actions that we can drive accountability and drive activity through. So again, a very versatile platform that allowed me to support up to, at the moment, we have 16 champions, so I can support 16 champions who are located geographically all across Victoria, and we can do that in real time. There we go. So the next part that I wanted to talk about is the workshop component. So when we developed the program, we looked at running it over, I guess it was a bit of a trial and error as we started to figure out what was the best frequency to deliver, because the other part of the program, which not everyone may be aware of, is every champion takes on this role on top of their normal job. So being able to fit in workshops, being part of technology trials or whatever it happens to be, innovation activities within the industry, is all outside their normal job description. So what we had to do was come up with a frequency that was allowed the program to be relevant, but also wasn't too much of a time impost. So over the last 5 years, we've fine-tuned it, but now the way it works, and it seems to be working very well, is we run 2 regional workshops a year, and that's where we bring each of the 4 regions together in their small group, and it's roughly four champions in each region. So we've got North Central, Eastern, Metro, and Western. And so we have 2 workshops a year with those groups. In pre-COVID, the program director and myself would head out to each of the regions. Since COVID, we've been running it online, but the plan will be to have some sort of hybrid model going forward. In between each of the regional workshops, we run a major workshop where we bring all of the champions together. So it's a 2-year program, so 1 year above the line, 1 year below the line. The champions cycle in each after the 2-year program, so you don't have to do 1 year in advance of the other, because they knit together very well. So the one above the line, we've brought in some IP from a group called the Syncretics Group, and we run a leadership at the edge workshop and a teamwork at the edge workshop. So the leadership at the edge is based around Shackleton's story down in trying to cross the South Pole, and it looks at how I guess the key aspects of leadership at that edge of human endurance. And then the teamwork at the edge is looking at the story in the Sydney to Hobart race, where it was a very dramatic race in '98, and there was a team that performed in an exceptional capacity, and that the outcomes of that teamwork and subsequent things that team have done are explored, and the lessons from both of those are drawn down, but then one of the key things is we draw them down, but then help each of the champions find a way to apply that into their day-to-day to understand what it is about those lessons that can be relevant to them. The second year, the below the line, again, 2 regional workshops, but we run this year is much more around the personal edge, helping each of the champions understand what their personal edge is, what is their where are they challenged, and we use a number of techniques to do that, including a little bit of psychometric stuff, but a lot about exploring things like how you operate individually, how you operate in a team, what your natural behaviors are, and what the behaviors what are your adapted behaviors, and then also how do you how do you respond when those are challenged? So it's very much a program based around experiential learning and helping the individuals understand themselves so that they can perform best in themselves, but also importantly, how they can perform best in a team and how they can adapt depending on the team that they're in. So obviously pre-COVID, they were all face-to-face workshops, but we spent a lot of time, a lot of development, and this is a shot from our workshop a week or so ago. So we've managed to keep activity, and as you can see by the faces, Lucy captured this shot, it's brilliant. We had a lot of fun and challenged them to operate in teams doing a complex task, all of them remotely in breakout rooms on Zoom. So and have had quite a good bit of feedback on that subsequent to the workshop. So we're constantly trying to improve, constantly trying to adapt the program to suit the environment. We'd love to all be together, but we've found a way of challenging them and keeping that activity going. So the next part of the program, which I'd argue is one of based on the feedback we've received, is one of the key things that the champions take from this program, and that is the concept of peer collaboration. So the champions aren't necessarily, and I guess from when I started at this in the program, I noticed that there was very little communication across industry from in the groups. That when we first brought them together, almost, I don't think anyone had, well, maybe one or two had met before, but there really wasn't any cross collaboration. And that was the purpose of IWN, was to actually try and share the burden of development and the cost of development, but share the lessons from development and the lessons of innovation, and make that a much more collaborative approach right across the Victorian industry and, you know, into the greater Australian and global industry as well. So peer collaboration, and a lot of the feedback has been about the fact that each one of the champions can now, if they're in East Gippsland, they can ring Lower Murray Water. They'll have a contact there that they can have a chat with. If there's a problem that's an issue in one organisation, they've got a network of 60 or 15 other people that they can ring to find out if anyone else is facing the same challenge and what they've done about it. So the champions have really embraced and enjoyed the concept of having this network that they may not have prior to this had an exposure to. So some of the things, and you can see on there, sharing best practice, increasing the program impact. So there's a whole lot of things that we've got out of it. And I wanted to put those two photos in there. That was, the photo at the top is us a year ago, and then obviously a week ago. So we're trying very hard to keep that peer collaboration going, because I think it's a really, really crucial part of the IWN program to keep those connections going. And one of the things that we're doing going forward is we're actually developing it'll be a champion drop-in, and we'll have program leads, champions, ex-champions, all able to drop in every couple of months to keep that networking going. And we'll try and get the face-to-face going, but we want to have a way that the champion group and alumni can all continue to collaborate, and because that network is crucial for sharing the learnings, and also identifying and understanding who's available for the champions to contact, who's doing what in the industry, having those discussions. And one example that jumps to mind for this straight away, which was fantastic, was when the satellite leak detection stuff was relatively new, and so this is probably 3 or 4 years ago. It was fairly close to the start, and the champion at the time from Yarra Valley Water, I think it was having a coffee with the champion from Lower Murray Water, and worked out that the works on the ground that were being done would go very well with running a satellite leak detection trial across the two networks. So there was instant collaboration over a coffee of two people who really hadn't met before, but had a common issue and a common way of looking at it. So that conversation resulted in a trial, and the vendor was sent away to do some more work because the results weren't at the point where it was I guess a strong enough result, but that happened rather than the vendor going around to each of the corporations and trying to get a trial at each of them. So and that was really early on in the program, and it's continued to grow from there. So, and then the other thing about the collaboration, the peer collaboration, is we're trying to make this, because it's outside their normal role, we've tried to find multiple ways of delivering this in a way that's fun, enjoyable, but also focused around learning and development. So as you can see there are a whole lot of things that we've done. So these are up the top. We're talking about the workshops, the conference, where we run a conference. We've built social environments. We've got training sessions. We've got discussion and development sessions. As you can see, there's Jacob running a session himself. So empowering the champions to be able to run the sessions and use the tools. And then off to the right, really challenging people with complex problem solving and teamwork in a dynamic and at their edge environment. So I think anyone who's seen or spoken to any of them who I've put through a ropes course, probably find they've certainly been challenged. And some of the takeaways from that, whether it's just being able to get yourself just off the ground, or whether you're actually the person up the top, the collaboration and team and the ability to draw the lessons that we've been delivering over 2 years and take them in a practical sense, and then debrief that back into their own environment, has been fantastic. All right. So the coaching support is, again, this was something that was about, and the initial conversation that I had back in 2015 was around how to deliver something that can be relevant across a whole variety of different levels of experience and positions or seniority or whatever you want to call it within an organization. And so one of the things I said that I wanted the program to have was the ability for me to coach each of the individuals, and so deliver information in a group environment, but actually back that up in a one-on-one environment. So the coaching support is based around the concept of each one of the champions having the ability to have an external mentor who's outside their organization, whose focus is around their development and nothing to do with their role within their organization, but actually outside and can develop them in a way that's relevant to them. And that means it can be about personal development, it can be about professional development, it can be about tackling a challenging situation. And I've seen the whole spectrum since starting this program with the 57 people, and it's everything from helping someone develop a plan around a specific project at their work to helping people deal with complex situations and having to help them engage with the HR department and other support services. So anything in that spectrum, and there's been a lot around developing people in their career. And a bit of the focus that I've taken is it's about retention within our industry. So helping people grow and progress within our industry, because that won't necessarily mean in their own water corp, because there might be an opportunity. But if we can retain this experience and passion within our industry, well, I think that's a bonus for every organisation and for our industry as a whole. So Matt Leach, who's the Northeast Water Champion, agreed to have a sit down and a chat with me, and we chatted for about 10 or 15 minutes, I think it was, which we'd recorded. I figured I won't put you through all of that, but I'll just play a brief. Oops, next slide. I'll just play a brief. It's about 2 minutes of the discussion that we had. How has it impacted directly on your role in any way, the elements of the program?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think probably from the outset, when I guess we had our initial catch up and you sort of said, what do you want to get out of this and where do you want to go? Like one of my, I guess, more long-term ambitions was to see my career progress. So, yeah, through this process, I've change roles to be in a new role at Northeast Water, which has been really positive. And I would definitely say that I guess some of the things I've learned and some of the skills that I've gained through IWN probably helps me to get there. I guess especially, really early on, like mapping out, what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, and how to get there was really the key part. And then with yourself, we sort of mapped out a bit of a plan, and it came to fruition probably ahead of schedule, which was always a bonus.
Awesome. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed working with you over the last 2 years, and we'll find a way to keep you involved in IWN after your champion role comes to an end. So thanks again, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem, mate. Thanks to your time. It's really having you there as a support was definitely is a big bonus of this program. I think having someone that you can connect with really well and can speak openly with and have good conversations with is a really important part, and you definitely brought that. So that'll definitely be a good takeaway for myself personally as well. So I appreciate your time.
So having feedback like that from as a coach and a mentor is really awesome. But also I thought it'd be good for you to hear from someone what they thought of the program and what they took from it, because that individual coaching is very very difficult to quantify and provide objective outcomes on, but it can be very strong for the individual. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed, and I think Dean touched on it right at the start, is we've had a number of people who have progressed, and one of the things I do with people is work through the concept of what is the next step for them, and what is their plan to achieve it, and then put in place the steps within that plan to make it achievable, make it manageable steps, and it can be from as simple as getting their CV relevant to what they've actually done, because I know if most people look at their CV and it's a bit of a list of everything rather than a document that can show how ready you are for a position, to actually running through and doing interview preparation. So I've had plenty of one-on-ones where we've sat down and run into, I guess, simulated an interview situation. So anything in that to help develop people and progress, and we've got a number of people through the program who have stepped up into more senior roles and are delivering really well in those roles. So it's a very exciting thing to be involved in from a coach and a mentor, but really nice to hear their feedback, and I thought you might get a bit from that. So this was a lot of words on this slide. Apologies for that. I try not to do that normally. So these are some of the things that we were trying to achieve. So we really wanted to get an outcome where the participants get a really good understanding of what strong leadership is. But it's not just leadership. It's about actually applying themselves to problem solving and applying themselves to planning. Because leadership, if you don't understand yourself, it's very hard to be a good leader. But if you don't understand yourself, it's also very hard to then be able to look at those that you're in a group with, in a team with, or those that you're leading, and understand how you can connect with those and get the best out of each of those individuals. So about getting the succession plan in, so helping grow the people, understanding that you can make yourself redundant by having succession planning, but that means you're redundant in that role so you can move on to the next one. Excuse me. So that's sort of around developing the individuals, but then also from a program perspective, being a program that actually is focused on developing strategies and driving the strategies around innovation in the program. So actually achieving stuff, being a program where we set goals and we achieve them. So improving the independence of the participants. Again, another thing about motivation is there's a guy called Dan Pink who talks about the drivers of motivation being mastery, autonomy, and purpose. So really trying to instill that desire to achieve a really great result, the ability to work independently and drive yourself, and having a really strong purpose. And that's one of the things that I think we see with all the champions, is that they're to be doing this outside their normal day-to-day means that they have to have a really strong purpose and a really strong passion for it. So retention of key people, I think I've talked about that enough, but keep people in the industry, accelerate change. Change is such a tough thing to bust through, and if we can accelerate that in any way, that's really cool. But also just maintain excitement and energy. So that's really what we've tried to have as a focus of the outcomes of this program. And then the other thing that we've also applied is the concept of continuous improvement. So I use this philosophy, the plan, do, check, act philosophy. That has been applied to this program from day one. I think we really were starting not exactly knowing where we were at with it, and there've been a lot of improvements we've made, a lot of changes we've made to drive activity, to get successful outcomes, to get really strong engagement. One of the things that set us up in a really good position was the fact that we had to deliver this to people geographically spread meant that we started with an online presence or a remote presence. So when COVID put us all into isolation, yes, we had to change the way we delivered workshops and the regional meetings, but the rest was actually we were already delivering that way. So what we were able to do with our continuous improvement there was fine tune and deliver really engaging and interactive workshops, because we already had the other stuff under control, and we're already delivering the other stuff. We've continued to fine tune that, but we started from, I guess, a good position because of the way we designed it up front. So we are constantly looking, Dean talked to you just before about the fact that we're surveying the participants and we're surveying the industry to understand the perception and the impression of our program. We take that feedback on, and we're continually developing that. And then I wanted to finish off with a couple of quick things. One, when we started, we really didn't know what a champion should look like at all. We had our first group of champions. We had a number of people from the innovation department or area or interest in innovation in their water corp, because we thought, we're an industry innovation organisation. But what we've found is we've actually developed. We've realised that what the champion is the champion is a conduit of information. So they're the person in your organisation who is passionate about innovation. And let me just make sure the definition of innovation is not just tech. It's the way we think, the way we do things, cleverer ways of interacting, like the way we purchase power, or the way we share information, or the way we collaborate. It can be anything, with or without tech. And I think that was a big step change in the IWN when we realised that. Then recruiting people who are passionate and want to listen and understand what's happening within their organisation and within other organisations, and share that knowledge and connect the people that can put people together who are dealing with the same issue and can try and problem solve that together across our industry. So our development of champions and the champion profile as such has changed significantly over the 5 years, and all credit to the whole group. The individuals have changed to, I think a few started thinking that it'd be a forum in which they could talk about their love of innovation, but they found themselves standing in front of a crowd presenting and collecting information. And all credit to them. All of our champions have pushed themselves to their edge and beyond, and it's been really exciting to watch and exciting to see that development. So what we as a group, in terms of the IWN office as such, so Dean, Lucy and I with this program are helping each champion through the process of identifying their 2IC, their second in charge. And we realized that was a really important thing, because each champion doing this outside their normal normal role, sometimes the challenges of your normal role take over and this has to get pushed aside. So having another person, a 2IC who can support, but also that's the process of providing succession planning so that the next champion can hit the ground running, know what's expected, understand the role. So that's something that Dean, Lucy and I have been supporting very strongly. And I think we've got most 2ICs in place now, but this is a continuous program because every year we have a group, there'll be a changeover of champions, and we've got the final day of our conference coming up in 2 weeks, and that there'll be a few champions leaving then and 2ICs stepping up into the champion role. So we'll have to recruit again the 2ICs after. So really understanding that profile has been important, and I think we're pretty good at it now, and we've developed a whole lot of information to support each water corporation to identify the next person to step into a 2IC and then ultimately a champion role. So a bit of a plug. In the past, our conference for the champions, the two conference days each year, day one was around developing the champions, and day two was around having our programs, which Dean talked about, the other 8 programs. Program leads presenting where we're at with trials and I guess status of projects. And but what we've done this year with virtual, we thought it would be a bit harsh to put the champions through 2 days in a row of 8 hours in front of a screen. So we split the days up. And on the 11th of November, we're having day 2 of our conference, and we've invited the whole industry. So all member water corporations are invited. There'll be updates. I'm doing another update, so you might get to hear this twice. But we have a keynote speaker, Diane McGrath, coming, and that is going to be absolutely fascinating. She's in the top 100 of getting having a one-way ticket to Mars in the Mars One program, and so she's going to be talking about her preparation and reasoning. So you can see their inquiries at iwn.org.au. If you want to come along, please send us an email and we'll send you a registration form. And before I open up for questions, just one last thing. I'd love to say this was all just me, but I have to acknowledge everyone here. So everyone at IWN, Queston, Syncretics, and Mindshop, and then obviously Delp and Vic Water, because this program takes a lot of effort, a lot of coordination, and a lot of support by that whole group has enabled it to be what it is today. So with, I think, 7 minutes left, I'll open up for any questions.
Currently no questions in the chat, so hit Cam up if you've got something intriguing or you want to stump him. Feel free. You might have done too good a job, Cam.
Too good a job? And I'll stop the share and I'll bring everyone back here so I can actually see people.
So just another plug there, if you didn't catch that email address, inquiries@iwn.org. Otherwise, grab your champion. They'll be able to hook you up with a link to Eventbrite to get onto that day. Wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, wouldn't miss it for Mars.
No.
I guess happy to. One of the things that has been the big work, that last part I was talking about, is recruiting and getting the next champion. So whether anyone wants to talk in this forum or happy to talk offline, very happy to do that. Actually, just got one question coming through. What's the approximate time commitment for a champion, e.g. like a day a month or a couple of days a month? Good question. Thanks, Michael. It's a slightly tricky one to answer because it depends on what the champion is committed to. So in terms of development, purely development, a couple of hours a week would allow you to progress through some courses or consolidate the information that we present in the workshops or in the regional workshops. So a couple of hours a week. One of the people that who, and he won't mind me mentioning this, who started as quite a skeptic around leadership development and mentoring and coaching, he ended up committing 2 hours a week. Every Monday afternoon, he put 2 hours aside, and he progressed significantly through the courses. I think he I think got the second highest number of courses done out of all the Mindshop courses that are available. We had multiple discussions. I knew every Tuesday morning after the Monday afternoon, I would get hammered with emails and tasks put through on the Mindshop online platform for me to follow up. So that seemed to work really well from a development perspective and was manageable within a normal working week. The next step is when a champion engages in a technology trial or supporting a program lead or something like that. And that will be dependent on the program that they're involved in and the requirements around that. And that's how long is a piece of string, because there are some that are pretty straightforward and just roll on, and there are others that have big commitments of time. So I think there was, I'm just trying to remember the name. Dean, help me out here. Was it ZOO or the Power Purchase Agreement? I get all the acronyms mixed up. Yeah. So there was a lot of, at various stages, there was a lot of work required by the group involved with that one. So it does depend, but from the purely development, a couple of hours.
Cam, it's Sonia.
Yeah, hi Sonia.
My question is about continuous improvement. So you've talked about how the program's changed over the time, and not just what the participants have got out of it, but what you have as well. And one of the real strengths of IWN is about that, looking over the horizon, looking forward, what's the next thing? So my question to you is, after the number of years that you've been involved in this, where do you see this program going next, or what's the next horizon, perhaps for future champions to take on board that perhaps wasn't involved at the start?
Yeah, excellent question, Sonia. And I think I really believe it's going to be ramping up and any of the champions on the line are going to freak out at this, but it's ramping up that ability around communication and connecting. So I think we still have a number of people who are very passionate around the innovation, not as passionate about standing up in front of a crowd. So I think it's us developing this with the amount of work IWN has, not the amount of work, the amount of I guess progress we've made in so many areas, the number of programs that have run through and where we've got a really solid position at the end of trials, and we've developed so many things within the industry that the industry can benefit from. It's really about getting that message out now. So I think the future champions are going to be people who are committed to actually spreading that message, sharing those learnings, so that we aren't reinventing the wheel. Because guaranteed, if we all get together, we'll find out that we've had examples of this very recently, where there's still stuff going on that corporations are unaware of, where we're doing the same thing in different parts of the state. So really becoming those connectors, those presenters, those I guess it's almost being. I'm just trying to think of what the word is, like being a show person. They're going to be up front and being able to spread the message of what the innovation that we've achieved, at the same time as continuing the momentum that we've generated. So we've got a lot going on, and in the last update, as well, if you come along on the 11th, you'll see how much is going on. So the challenge will be to present, share what we've done, but also not lose track of the innovation and stuff that we're driving as well at the moment.
Great, thanks, Cam.
That's okay.
I think one thing just to add there, Cam, is that that's the integral part of the knowledge sharing program too, and collaboration.
Absolutely.
It's a big part of IWN is getting industry and authorities to work together, share information, and collectively work on projects. So that's really what this webinar series is key to, plus other sides of the program. So that's integral in part of that as well.
Cool. So Corey, just a couple of things. David said, that's me, total skeptic, probably the first person who needs it. Happy to chat. And then, yeah, Michael saying, yeah, so dependent on circumstances and commitments. And I guess, so Michael, one of the things that's important to that is that's why we've driven the concept of the 2IC, because we want to support champions, and so everyone involved in the planning around IWN we're actively supporting the champions as much as we can, but also having someone else within their organisation who can help and help drive that activity, so that when there are work commitments that are taking away from the time available for IWN, there's someone else who can step in. So that's a really important part going forward.
Further to that too, Cam, it's also across IWN, and I know this myself as a champ, that there's been times when I've been time constrained and I've had to go back to IWN. I go to Dean, I go to Lucy, I go to Michael, and I go, hey, I've got a couple of weeks, I just can't get stuff done, I need someone to help out. And the team does that collectively as well. So it's not just the two ICs, but it's IWN network in totality.
Yep. So it's 46, so we've just gone after the 1 minute after, but any other questions before? Otherwise, I'll hand back to either Corey or Dean to close.
Yeah, Cam, Benny, mate, how are you?
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Good, thanks. One other thing I suppose worth mentioning is that, obviously champions, there's one or two, two IC as well, kind of thing, but there's obviously other elements to still be involved, even if you don't, become the champion, you want to become a champion, you still obviously get involved all through the programs, things like that as well. So probably worth mentioning, that potentially. Yeah,
absolutely. So that's totally correct. You don't have to be the champion to get involved in IWN. All of our trials and all of our programs need people to be part of them, people to whether it's developing the business case or actually running the trial or being involved in data collection, whatever it happens to be. There are so many ways to be involved in the IWN as a whole. And I guess we won't turn anyone away. We're very keen to support anyone who wants to be involved, because this supports our industry and drives some really incredible stuff in our industry. So I think come along on the 11th, because you'll get a taste of what we're up to and what's going on, and that will whet your appetite. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'll add something. That's a great point too, Ben, is that each program that we run has a working group. So as you alluded to, we've got the champion group, is if there is a program of interest to anyone within your organisation, we can certainly align them to one of the working groups for our programs.
Perfect. Well, I think hit our time and no more questions coming in. 11th November, just under 2 weeks, so Wednesday, not next week, the week after. Get on, register, don't miss that keynote speaker. You'll get updates to the programs. And you'll really see some of that leadership side coming out, with people doing the Hydrovation Challenge presentation there with the winners, and where people have gone in this whole course. So get on, book in, and we'll leave you with it. Thanks, Cam, for coming. Thanks, Dean. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, everyone.